Imagine having a conversation where every twist and turn of your physiology could reveal the truth. Welcome to the world of lie detectors. In this realm of psychological interrogation, the lie detector or polygraph stands as a sentinel at the gates of truth and deception. What exactly is a lie detector? At its core, it's a machine designed to measure and record several physiological indices such as heart rate, blood pressure, respiration, and skin conductivity, while a subject answers a series of questions. The premise is simple yet profound. When lying, the body supposedly undergoes subtle physiological changes that can be detected by these sensitive instruments. The polygraph test begins by establishing a baseline of normal physiological responses during the initial phase, where control questions are asked. As the test progresses to more direct queries, the machine records fluctuations against this baseline, suggesting either truth or deception. These mechanisms open a Pandora's box of ethical, psychological, and scientific questions. Now let's dive deeper into how these fascinating machines claim to discern the truth from deception. What makes a lie detector tick? Let's peel back the layers. At the heart of the lie detection process is the polygraph machine, a fascinating device designed to measure and record several physiological indices such as pulse, blood pressure, respiration, and skin conductivity while a person answers a series of questions. The goal? To spot the physiological changes that might indicate that the person is not being truthful. Let's start with the main components. The polygraph includes several sensors that are attached to the individual undergoing the test. One common sensor is the pneumograph, which consists of two rubber tubes filled with air. These are placed around the test subject's chest and abdomen to measure respiratory activity. As one breathes in and out, the air within these tubes is displaced, which is then recorded and analyzed. Another crucial component is the cardio cuff, similar to what you might find on a blood pressure monitor. This cuff is wrapped around the upper arm to measure blood pressure and the heart rate. Fluctuations in these readings can sometimes suggest stress or anxiety, which are often interpreted as signs of deceit. Then there's the galvanic skin response sensor, which measures the electrical conductivity of the skin. This sensor is particularly sensitive to sweating, which can increase during moments of stress or deception. It's typically attached to the fingertips, where sweat gland activity is more pronounced. These components work together to monitor signs that are believed to be indicators of psychological stress. The idea is that lying triggers a kind of stress that produces distinctive physiological responses, which the polygraph is supposedly able to detect. However, it's not just about strapping on some sensors and reading the results. The polygraph examiner plays a crucial role in this process, interpreting the data in the context of the test and the individual's baseline readings. With the basics in place, understanding how these readings become a lie or truth is our next puzzle. From setting up the sensors to interpreting results, how does a polygraph test actually unfold? Imagine stepping into a room where your truths and lies are about to be scrutinized. The polygraph test begins with a pre-test interview where the examiner establishes a baseline for your responses. This part is crucial. They talk through the questions that will be asked during the test, ensuring you understand each one. It's a bit like rehearsing for a play where the stakes are your credibility. Next, you're connected to the polygraph machine. It's not as daunting as it sounds, just some straps around your chest and abdomen to monitor your breathing, a blood pressure cuff to gauge your cardiovascular activity, and sensors attached to your fingers to measure sweat gland activity. These components are vital as they detect the physiological changes triggered by the stress of deception. Now the main act begins, the testing phase. Here you'll face a mix of control questions and relevant questions. Control questions are generally unrelated to the issue at hand, but designed to cause a reaction like, have you ever lied to get out of trouble? They help to set a physiological benchmark. Relevant questions are directly related to the matter being investigated. The contrast between your reactions to these different types of questions can be quite telling. As the questions roll out, every breath you take, every beat of your heart is recorded. The polygraph machine meticulously tracks these physiological signals, turning them into data that appear as graphs and lines on a screen. Each peak, each trough has the potential to reveal more than just a simple yes or no. Finally, the test concludes and the wires are removed. But the analysis is far from over. The examiner will review the charts, interpreting the zigzags of lines to determine inconsistencies or signs of stress responses indicative of deception. Each spike and dip tells a story, but who reads these tales? Scene script, a graph full of peaks and valleys, but how do experts decipher this code? In the world of lie detection, the polygraph's output might look like an indecipherable series of lines to the untrained eye. Yet to a trained polygraph examiner, these lines are a rich tapestry of physiological responses that weave a complex story about the subject's truthfulness. Let's delve into how this interpretation process unfolds. When a polygraph test is conducted, multiple channels record various physiological indicators, such as heart rate, blood pressure, respiration, and skin conductivity. These are plotted on a graph over the duration of the test, creating a visual representation of the subject's physiological responses to each question. The key to decoding this data lies in the use of control questions. Control questions are designed to be emotionally neutral and are used to establish a baseline of the subject's normal physiological responses. These questions might be as mundane as asking the subject their name or their date of birth. Comparatively, relevant questions that potentially relate to the matter under investigation are posed. These questions are expected to provoke a stronger physiological response if the subject is being deceptive. By comparing the responses to these relevant questions against the baseline established by the control questions, the examiner can begin to identify patterns. For instance, a significant spike in heart rate or a sudden increase in skin conductivity during a relevant question could suggest that the subject is experiencing stress or anxiety, possibly indicating deception. However, interpreting these signals isn't straightforward. Factors such as nervousness, fear, or even the subject's belief about the test can influence their physiological responses. This is where the skill of the examiner becomes crucial. Experienced polygraph examiners use their judgment to assess whether changes in physiological responses are consistent with deception or simply a result of other factors. They must consider the context of the entire session, analyzing the nuances of the subject's responses across all questions. Even with advanced technology, interpreting polygraph results is as much an art as it is a science. Is a lie detector a flawless truth seeker? Not quite. While polygraphs are popularly known to pry open the vault of truth, their reliability and ethical implications have been subjects of heated debates. Diving into the heart of these controversies, experts often question the fundamental accuracy of polygraph tests. It's crucial to understand that a polygraph doesn't detect lies directly. Instead, it measures physiological responses such as heart rate, blood pressure, and perspiration, assuming that deceptive answers will provoke distinctive responses. However, this assumption doesn't always hold water. Dr. Lila Feinstein, a renowned psychologist, points out that nervousness, anxiety, or even certain medications can trigger similar physiological responses as lying would. This means that truthful individuals can fail the test due to high stress, while practiced liars might pass undetected. Essentially, the test's accuracy heavily depends on the individual's emotional and physical state, rather than the veracity of their words. This leads us to another significant concern: the potential for misuse. Polygraphs have been used in employment screenings and criminal investigations where the stakes are incredibly high. The reliance on this technology can lead to severe consequences, including wrongful employment denials or miscarriages of justice. Critics argue that the use of polygraph tests in such critical decisions is not only unscientific but also unjust. Highlighting both failures and successes, there have been well-documented cases where polygraphs have both falsely implicated individuals and correctly identified deceit. For instance, the case of Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer, who passed a polygraph test only to later confess to multiple murders, showcases the potential pitfalls of relying on polygraph results. Despite these challenges, polygraphs continue to be used, partly because they can be an effective tool for eliciting confessions or deterring deceitful behavior during interrogations. Yet it's evident that the technology is far from foolproof. As we see, the line between truth and deception isn't always clear-cut. The use of lie detectors, surrounded by controversy and limitation, reminds us that the quest for truth is as complex as human nature itself. We've journeyed through the intricate workings of lie detectors, but what have we learned? In our exploration, we discovered that lie detectors, particularly polygraphs, are fascinating devices that measure physiological responses like heart rate, blood pressure, and skin conductivity to assess truthfulness. These mechanisms hinge on the belief that deceptive answers will provoke distinctive, measurable physiological reactions. We've seen how polygraphs are deployed in various scenarios, from criminal investigations to employment screenings, revealing their widespread application. Yet, despite their usage, we've also uncovered significant controversies surrounding their accuracy and reliability. Critics argue that factors such as nervousness or the skill of the examiner can influence results, casting doubts on the polygraph's infallibility. Reflecting on the impact of lie detectors, it's clear they have shaped the field of truth verification in profound ways, yet they are not without their flaws. Remember, the quest for truth is complex and multifaceted. Thank you for exploring the enigmatic world of lie detectors with us. If you found this journey intriguing, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Cheers!